Well, I am super, super jealous right now because we're three of a couple people out of our whole friend group that are chilling, hanging out in Baltimore right now. And we should all be there. So congratulations to everybody that's hanging out in Baltimore. I am wishing I was there right now. It's hell seeing all you guys getting to kick it. I talked to the Hive boys today. I talked to Big Leg today. I saw that Big Leg and was hanging out with the Hive boys and kicking it with everybody. And I'm like, man, I wish I was there right now. But it's all good, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Hot 10 show. At least we have that. At least we've got the list, the almost 10, and 62 live hanging out with us tonight. You guys are the best. We're back. We got Richie back in the house, feeling better, still dealing with it, but yeah, he's feeling better. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I got my energy back. I'm probably about 90, hopefully 90, like a soft 90%.
Stein,
good.
what about you, brother?
Hey, surgery was on Wednesday. I'm mostly back. Yeah. So
Good.
Still, yeah.
Well, there's one problem with this whole thing is that red hat.
No, that's the
Go
best
Trojans, hat. Baby. USC.
Oh, they're gonna be in the Big Ten next year.
Are they really?
Yeah, them and UCLA, or them and UCLA, I think will be in.
Oh
Big
yeah,
Ten.
I forgot about that. That's pretty silly.
Well,
that's so dumb. That's ridiculous. I'll never understand that. It's all about money. It just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about money. But that being said, I was talking to the guys before the show, and we were talking about football, and we're talking about fantasy and this and that, and I'm like, oh man, who are the top running backs? And I look and I see Josh Jacobs is one of the top running backs.
RB4 on the year.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, that's fucking awesome. I am so stoked that Josh Jacobs is doing well because I haven't sold my black 101 yet, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa!
The 1 of 1 Josh Jacobs, ladies and gentlemen, right there. So,
or I don't know how you haven't sold that yet.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's nice. You know why I kept it? The only reason I've kept this so far is because I knew he was a great freaking running back, and I had to see him start putting up some numbers. But there was nothing better than a Raiders card, than a Raider as a black 101, right? Only thing that might match up is a Bengal Tiger, right? And I don't even think Tigers are 101, right? Tiger Stripes or Tiger Stripes 101?
No, they're not 101s.
So. No. So, anybody out there who's looking, where's Blez? I know Blez is a Las Vegas guy. Isn't Blez a Las Vegas guy? Blez, here's your card. Send me an offer. Yep. That being said, we got some comic books to talk about.
I would drop that thing off at Heritage and let them
work it out.
Oh yeah.
I would do it pretty quick too, because the running back health is so volatile.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's probably at least a 35 to 40% chance they're going to trade Jacobs by Tuesday.
Ooh, so really?
He's on the block. Yeah. The Rams are calling about him. Buffalo's calling about him. Just a few other teams. So, wow. Yeah, there was rumors in camp that the Raiders management doesn't really get along with Jacobs. So.
Wow. Shout out to Nimesh Patel, who dropped a $20 super chat. He says, hey all, Brian, what was that poster you wanted from Baltimore? There was a badass, like really, really bright blacklight poster that from Baltimore that was just beautiful. So if you see any of those, it's a certain seller, and it's as a matter of fact, hold on here. Let me see if I have it. I think I might have it right This is gorgeous. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but one of the thing about Baltimore is Baltimore has always been that kind of like that place for fans of the comic industry. They're doing their retailer summit there this year, right? So I don't know. I think Baltimore has kind of always been that place. And this is, look at that. That is freaking gorgeous right there. So I forget who did it, but really, really cool stuff. Beautiful, like black light style poster. Kind of has that Dia de los Muertos feel to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's a
Which
good
makes
one.
which makes sense, where it's in October, and it kind of
Yes.
fits, right?
Yeah. Yep. So shout out to everybody at Baltimore. If anybody out there that is watching, including, look at Nimesh. Nimesh is already out there. Shout out to Nimesh. Everybody else that is out there. Pretty cool. Darth, are you heading out there? Is Darth Lopez heading out to Baltimore? I don't know why you would want to hang out with that guy, but if I knew Darth Lopez was going to Baltimore, I would hang out with him. But that being said, all right, you guys, let's talk about the list tonight. A lot of cool books on the list tonight. We've got the Almost 10, of course. If you guys know how this works, Stein writes the list every week. You can catch it on Fridays on the website every week. And then, of course, we get into the Almost 10, which are those books that maybe were just close to making the list, but most importantly, they're books that Stein or Richie or me kind of see throughout the week that are like, man, that's a cool book that maybe people might not know about and people should know about. So let's get into the new list, you guys, for the Almost 10. Starting off with a weird one, a really weird one. I'm hoping that this is the right book. Dreamweaver number 3.
That is the right book. And like, now that I see the cover like blown up, it's a more awesome cover than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's like space is strangling the dude.
And I've never ever heard of this book. I've never seen it. It's from 1988, and it was written and illustrated by Bob Langford. Issues 1 through 3 are out there. Issue number 3 is the origin issue, and it's a special origin issue. But there are issues 1 and 2, black and white on the interior, old school, independent comic book.
Yeah. So this one, I'd never heard of it either. So for $90 this week, I don't even know where some of these independent comics come from, to be honest.
Yeah. Looks like there's 3 of them. A three issue series. Nice.
Darth Lopez says, no, I'd only go if Dollar was there because will always be the Spec King. Amen. I don't know why, guys, why anybody else would think otherwise.
Oh yeah, and I was going to mention, it's not anywhere this week, but remember last week, Brian, how we talked about that Abolition of Man number 1? So there's been quite a little bit of buzz around that. There's still very few copies. There's a couple sellers that you might be able to pop one up on eBay every once in a while to get it for $7-8. But they actually reached out to me. They're going to send. They're supposed to send me a signed copy, and I'm going to give it away as soon as I get
me.
it. So
no, you're not going to give it away. You're giving that book to me because that was my fucking idea. I'm just joking. Shout out to who is the publisher on that? I forget.
It was like Living the Life. On this one or on the Abolition?
No, on Abolition of Man.
It was like Living the Life or something like that. It was something I'd never even heard of before. But
that's it. I mean, it's such a great idea. Shout out to them.
I've seen a couple.
Living the Line is what it is. Living the Line.
Living the Line.
Yes. And I am very, very interested in that series. If you guys don't know what we are talking about. This is a book that was on the Almost 10 last week, and just a fascinating idea. We've been talking about AI art on the Hot 10 and on Beyond Wednesdays for quite a while. We have a little segment that we like to kind of just do a little dive on AI art and AI artists out there, or just AI, people that are plugging in words and stuff. But this was such a great idea that multiple people thought of it. Great minds think alike. So shout out to Living the Line. I also heard that there was a rare 1 in 10 version. Now
1 of 10. Yeah, there's only 10.
Of 10.
Oh yeah, only 10, and it's got the same cover, but when you open it up, all the interior art is different, and it tells you this is 1 of 10 copies of this book.
That is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Living the Line, congrats to you. Great job. And I love to see the response from them. So very, very cool. All right, let's continue. Again, number 1 on the Almost 10 this week was this Dreamweaver number 3, the special origin issue with a gorgeous old school cover. That's actually a really good cover.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, bro.
Really, really good.
I mean, would you call that negative space in the sense? I mean, it's like space, and in the space, like the silhouettes make his arm, and he's strangling that guy. It looks like the Fred Mercury.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it does look like Freddie Mercury. I don't know what the series is about. I would love to know if anybody out there has read this series. Issue number 1 is right here for anybody that wants to look for issue number 1. Another Freddie Mercury image on the front cover. Must be the main character, but definitely a crazy looking book. So be on the lookout for any of those issues, but issue number 3 is definitely a cool one. So Dreamweaver number 3. What did this? You saw one of these sold?
Yeah, for $90.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's pretty damn cool. All right. Next book on the list this week, a badass G.I. Joe cover right here. This is G.I. Joe number 264, the Fraga variant. This is the B cover for G.I. Joe. They're getting ready to come to an end for IDW, which is kind of a bummer because they've kind of held up the lantern of G.I. Joe over the last so many years. And shout out to them for coming up with some great ideas, some great art, cover art. Putting John Royal on variants over there was such a great thing. And who doesn't love nostalgia and Timberwolf on the cover?
Yeah. Now, who is it? Who is picking up the publishing?
That's what we don't know yet. But I'll tell you what, I have who I want to pick up the publishing. If I couldn't have Quentin Tarantino write my G.I. Joe, I want Robert frickin' Kirkman to do it.
So you think it's going to go back to Image?
I don't know. I don't want it to go back to Image. I want it to go to Skybound. And I know Image is an imprint, or Skybound's an imprint under Skybound, under Image. I hope I said that right. Let's say that again. I know that Skybound is an imprint under Image, but I specifically want G.I. Joe to go to Skybound, and I want Robert Kirkman to write that shit. Be amazing. That's what we need. So,
I didn't know Skybound was a subsidiary of Image. I thought it was something completely different. Oh wow.
That's yes. Robert Kirkman is considered one of the Image is it CEOs, or they actually brought him on board once Walking Dead kind of blew up. They made him one of them. One of us. Is that what it was in Freaks? One of us. I can't remember. Remember that old school movie Freaks? Anyways, G.I. Joe 264, the Fraga variant. Pretty damn cool. Be on the lookout for this. This one sells for a lot. Whenever it sells.
$75 for
open to order. Yeah.
Yeah, for a B cover.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's very interesting. That's for sure. Well, we'll see what happens with the. There's a couple final issues, right? I don't think 300's come out yet, but
no, I think they're either at 298 or 299. They're really close.
Yeah, and they've got some really cool. They've always done really cool connecting covers over there. A la this right here, it looks like a connecting cover, but You know what they have. I hope they have something like really cool planned for the final issue. We'll see though. We'll see. All right. Next on the list, on the almost 10, we've got a very interesting book. This is Plasm Zero. Now, here's what's interesting about this. And okay, so it was the first release from Jim Shooter's Defiance comic line, right? And it wasn't distributed as an insert. It was distributed as an insert and glued into copies of the previous magazine. It means that most of them are just trashed, right? So there were examples that were given out to artists and employees and friends of Shooter, and these are referred to as the staple variant or the one staple variant. And they're held together at the spine by a single staple. Very few of these have turned up, and none, I guess, have been certified in the 9.8, except for one, I think, right? Is there one that's been 9.8 cop? I can't. I'm not sure about
CGC?
that. But
CGC
yeah.
or CB? Oh, there's
CGC.
Yeah, I've never seen one on CGC, but I've seen multiple on CBCS.
Okay. And this is a very interesting book. Now, here's what's very interesting about this. And I can't be certain because I just haven't got up to walk over to find out. But this either came in the previews with Batman, the first Azrael as Batman on the previews, or it came in the previews with Spawn on it. Because I have this. And I didn't know about this. Now, it's not this copy because mine is inserted in the previews. The ones that were given away were ones that weren't inserted in the previews, and they stapled them together. The one staple, a la the one staple variant of Plasm Zero. Pretty crazy. What did this sell for?
It is. I was, well, yeah, in fine condition, which again, I mean, now you would think that the one staples would be in better condition than the ones that were glued into the previews, but in fine condition, this sold. There was actually several of them that sold this week in the $50 to $60 range. I don't know if one person was buying them all. I really don't like. I haven't thought about. And I was thinking Warriors of Plasm because wasn't that the actual title? It was Warriors of Plasm, not just Plasm.
That's a great question. I can't remember that.
I think the book itself. I mean, I'm trying to think back into the early '90s when this came out. But I mean, I haven't thought about this book in 30 years. I mean, nobody cares about this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the one we're speaking on right now that Brian was talking about, or the one that's on the screen, that's the Plasm Diamond insert published by Defiant. Warriors of Plasm, you're right, Ben. Also published by Defiant. That is the beginning of the ongoing 13 issues.
Very cool.
Now everybody that's watching this is going to be like, man, I've got like 800 copies of this thing. I'm going to go look for the single staple variant.
Yeah. Well, you're probably only going to find them in either unless you got handed one or if you have old school previews lying around, because that's where they were in. So pretty interesting. Very interesting. All right. Next, a gorgeous J. Scott Campbell cover that a lot of people do not know about. Shout out to Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, who again put out some really, really cool books. Most notably this. I also like Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, the #1 Liberty Comics #1 issue, which also has a gorgeous J. Scott Campbell cover with a very rare boys insert. Man, this is a cool book right here. And there's some great Elephant Man covers out there that are severely underrated.
Yeah, that whole series, most of their print runs for Elephant Men was like below 2,000. I mean, they were so low print run. But there's actually there's a incentive ratio or incentive variant for this with a black and white that is virtually impossible. There is one of those on. Yeah, there's a 9.8 on eBay up right now. It's like I think he's asking like 600 or something like that. It's a I wasn't even sure up until about a year ago that book even existed. But this one's not easy to find either. There is a B cover to this. I think it's a Tim Sale cover, um, which is good as well. But yeah, this is a $25 book, so it's a $6 cover price. I wouldn't think that many shops ordered it. I mean,
Right.
this
I
is
think you could only get it from their website if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
because the Liberty one you could only get from their website. And here's a little info that I don't let leak very often, but you know me, I'm just too honest not to. I came across them on the website, and back in the day, the Liberty number ones, and I must have bought 10 of them. Yeah, and they had you got 5. You got one cover would be the J. Scott Campbell, and then your second one was back for Liberty number one. It's a Mignola cover, a Hellboy cover. And of course, CBLDF, if you guys don't know, it's not a charity, but a organization that likes to have money available for comic book creators. Is that right? I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it's very interesting. Let me take a look on that. Let me just double check.
Kind of like the Hero Initiative.
Yes, I believe so. All right, let's see here. Let's see what is up with the Legal Defense Fund. The CBLDF is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the protection of the First Amendment rights of the comics art form and its community of retailers, creators, publishers, librarians, and readers. The CBLDF provides legal referrals, representation, advice, assistance, and education in furtherance of these goals. So there you go. Interesting. Very interesting.
What year is this from?
maybe 2013, 2014, something like that.
It's an awesome cover. I mean, you can barely tell it's J. Scott Campbell until you look at the woman real close, Nice.
Yeah, of course Red Hood would have 3 of them. He's got 8 of everything. Means he sold 5.
Edwin
2015.
Aguilar's, yeah, it says 2015.
Very, very cool. All right. And you said this selling a $25 book?
25. Yep.
Nice. All right, this next one is very interesting to me. I'm a big fan of David Cho, and if you guys don't know, David Cho had a comic book that he put out very early in his career that is very, very rare, very tough to find. David Cho, a modern artiste who is just a really, really cool, funny guy. And if you have never heard of him or looked into him, go watch his Joe Rogan interviews. They're very interesting. But yeah, this is a David Cho Superman red and blue #2 variant.
This looks like this belongs in the Abolition of Man.
Yes.
It's very, very strange.
And that's kind of David Cho's art. It is strange like that. That's for sure.
I have absolutely no clue what is going on, but this is selling for upwards of $25 to $30 for this B cover of Superman red and blue.
David Cho, man, I'm telling you, 100%. David Cho is like, he's not just like a regular comic artist. He's like a Andy Warhol type artist, if that makes sense. Like
an artist.
Yeah. Big time American artist. Yeah, man. Here's for those of you guys that don't know, let me give you a quick idea of David Cho and his art. This is his website, and you can kind of get an idea of his art and what he's about. He has a podcast called The Cho Show, so very interesting. Let's take a look at some of his early stuff. Let's see. There's his comic book right there, if I'm not mistaken. No, maybe not. But his comic looks like that. But there you go. You guys can see early David Cho art. And then let's take a look at recent David Cho art. There you go. There's recent David Cho art. So very interesting, but pretty cool that, he's a comic fan. Obviously, he started off his career with some comics. Shout out to Dank Comics and the Dank Show on YouTube and Simple Man's. He talks about David Cho all the time and probably has a bunch of these hanging out. So, yeah, he was on Rogan and he was talking about chasing after a dinosaur in the jungle. And I imagine that DMT helped him find that dinosaur. So, yeah. All right. Next on the list. All right, you guys. This is an interesting one. We talked about this next one on Wednesday night on the Radar Show. Shout out to the crew over there, Trey, Big Leg, Marcus, and Vinny, where we brought up in the market report this crazy, quote unquote, unpublished John Byrne Fantastic Four 293 book. Now, the reason that I brought this up on the show, specifically the market report that I do, is because it had sold for a ton of money. A copy of this I should say the copy of this sold on eBay, as you can see, for $710. Wow. Now, this is important for multiple reasons. One, because it's a crazy looking book. If you guys don't know about this cover, the original cover is this really famous She-Hulk cover. That's supposedly the original cover. And this is supposedly an unpublished version. And as you can see, it looks pretty crazy, right? It kind of even has a spine tick. It almost looks real, right? That doesn't look real, right? You can see how bright white that inner cover is.
It looks like it has spine. You're right.
Oh, that's real. The interior is real. The back cover, super bright white. There's the back cover. But you guys, don't be fooled, okay? And here's the problem. Shout out to Big Leg, who immediately said, this guy is a charlatan. And by this guy, I mean the seller of the book, Imagination Inc. And at the time, I didn't necessarily want to call him out too bad because I didn't look into it much. I would love to get him on the show to talk about this. But look at some of the books he is selling.
Oh, this is the same guy with that Teen Titans.
You got it. You got it. He takes a lot of books. He republishes covers. He makes his own covers and his own art and puts it on other. And let me show you some of his sales, because this is the problem out there, you guys. There are people out there who are going to sell you books and say they're real. And as you can see here, it says rare Fantastic Four 293, quote, unpublished, end quote, She-Hulk variant by John Byrne. In the description, it says last issue by John Byrne. That's all it says. This guy should not be on eBay, in my opinion. He's selling fake books. Let's take a look at some of the other items that he has for sale, or items especially that he's sold. Let's go ahead and take a look at his sold listings. Okay. Now, as you guys can see, that's a sketchbook. Last Galactus story reprint from Epic. They never reprinted this. He reprinted this and put its own cover on it. They didn't never finish this story. The Last Galactus story, they never finished. It was in Epic Illustrated magazines number 26 through 34. And because they ended Epic Illustrated before they finished the story, it never got finished. That is fake. There's other fake books on here, as you guys will see in a second here. He sells a lot of fake books. And for those of you guys who have been around CBSI, or most notably Unpressable Defects for a long time, you guys remember the brass staple story and Flipside when Dino and Sean decided to buy some really expensive variants that came back with brass staples. Well, this is the same type of thing. This guy, it seems to be that he sells a lot of fake stuff. And again, I say it seems to be because that's the way it looks to me. And I would love to have Imagination Inc. come on here to kind of explain himself, because these are not real books. That's not a real book that I know of. Is it? Have you ever seen this virgin cover?
No.
Of?
Well, they
But
do things. They do things weird in Canada, right?
Well,
So
this is what he says, and this is why. This to me is why immediately why he should not be here. He says, "Bidders, be aware that this comic was found, among others, in an abandoned warehouse and is a possible misprint. Minor bullshit. This didn't get found in an abandoned warehouse. That's what he says on all of his books, by the way, including the John Byrne unpublished cover. This right here, same thing. Found in an abandoned warehouse. This is one of the craziest variants you're ever going to see. And he even puts spine ticks in them to kind of make them feel real.
wow.
But this is one of the rarest variants you're ever going to see, and people are bidding on it and buying it. I really want to find out if, I mean, this book, like, get out of here. He's got all the crazy variants on here, and I have a feeling, or at least it seems to me, that he's just printing these out and putting them in guts of regular books.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that is what it feels like from the fake John Byrne book, because that is 100. I did my research. I looked on eBay, or not eBay, the internet, for any other mention of this. I can't remember if it was Big Leg or Vinny that said, if it's not on Recalled Comics, it's suspect to me, and I agree with that. This is major suspect to me. This looks too clean on the cover compared to the actual interior of the book. Like, look how bright white that covers, and you can see the print lines. You see the print lines? Like, you can see the print lines in there where the printer isn't that good. And then he puts the guts of an old book in there. I mean, even with the back cover, if you look at the back cover, here's the back cover. You can see the print lines. So I don't know, man. At this point, I'm going to say, and that's why we do this, you guys. We talk about these type of books, and so we can find out what's going on. If they're real, they're real, and they could be something cool like this, or like this. Real cool books, but not this, which sold for $710.
And if they're not real, he could at least been upfront about it.
Yes.
Right. And that's I think where the slope becomes slippery, in the sense, if you're not going to be honest about it, then you are breaking eBay's guidelines by selling, counterfeit shit. And on top of that, as a community, this is the shit we're all supposed to be looking out for each other for, unless, we, like Bryan was saying, like to get him on the show. And he got permission from Marvel, or maybe he's got some grandfather clause. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but after what you just read on one of his eBay explanations about finding these books in a freaking warehouse, that is suspect as shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very interesting. So be on the lookout, you guys. But I will say this: get the original. The original cover is just as cool. So there you go.
Yep. By the way, there's Canadian price variants for this. They're 95 cents, and there are Mark Jewelers for these as well.
Boom. All right, next on the list, you guys, a gorgeous Rian Gonzalez cover, Eternal Descent, #1, the 1 in 10 variant. And this is, I mean, Rian Gonzalez is just amazing, absolutely amazing. Continue to put out great work like this, that's for sure.
This is such a weird cover, though, right?
I love it. All the stuff, the little toys in the background, and the dude throwing, the little toy, like he's throwing up the devil simps, the horns. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, he's got his tongue out. I don't know, man. That's a cool cover.
It just came out this week. It just came out. It's a 1 in 10, selling for about 15. I would think that supply would be short on this one, but I don't even know what Eternal Descent's about.
It's well, it sold out on the retailer level, I think, within that day, within Wednesday, because I couldn't find one. But what it says in the synopsis or whatever, it says, doctorate student and struggling musician Lyra Constance has become obsessed with the occult influence on the history of music, hoping it will lead to her big break. as like being a musician. But she soon learns that evil is very real and finds herself cast into the eternal battle between heaven and hell, with the world hanging in the balance.
I like that. I love heaven and hell battle books. Love it. Shout out to Wormwood. Shout out to Wicked and Divine. I'm all about those type of books, man. So very cool. What is this selling for right now?
Like 15.
Not bad. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right, next on the list, another gorgeous book. This one, care of Darwin Cook. I mean, who doesn't love that right there, man? Absolutely gorgeous. This is creator-owned Heroes number 7, the 1 in 10 Darwin Cook variant. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Rest in peace to the late, great Darwin Cook.
I had never heard of this book, and this was issue number 7, so I think this was the last issue. I'd never even heard of creator-owned Heroes. Have you? I mean,
no. I wonder if it's like a CBLDF type thing.
I'm not real sure. This is just a 1 in 10, and sold for $300 this week. So I've literally never heard of this book.
So it's Image Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So Steve Niles and Scott Morris and more madness from Darwin Cook. Says, locked in a Peruvian prison, Killswitch awaits a Mexican hit squad as he tries to discover who put a bounty on his head and why. The bullets fly as our hero is led into a deadly game of death against the world's best and most eccentric assassins, but the gloves come off when they threaten his family. And then there's a story called Meatball, where Detective Paul DeSanto works the seedy side of LA. He specializes in cheaters and losers, but he never chooses sides, and Hollywood cheats and losers work both sides of the street. After one of his operatives is eviscerated in an alleyway, DeSanto discovers the strange side of seedy. So I imagine it's probably like a anthology type series with quote unquote creator-owned characters, right? Creator-owned heroes. So that's pretty cool. I'm all for that. Little short stories, ideas and stuff like that. A 1 in 10 on this book's probably super tough to find.
I would think so, especially as it being the last issue. Yeah, and that's probably why it's probably none of us have ever seen it, and it's probably why it sold for $300.
Yeah. Shout out to Rainbow Brizite 711 $10 super chat, says best start to the weekend every week. Thank you guys for all the hard work and great content. Well, thank you, Rainbow Brizite. We appreciate the hell out of you, and we appreciate every one of you guys that support the show, whether it's by super chats, subs, thumbs up, hanging out in the live chat, dropping comments, or just watching the show. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. So
Specta Deck, that was this is called the series is actually called Creator Owned Heroes.
Right.
Yep. You got it. Very, very cool. And you sold for $300?
$300.
Wow. Very cool. All right. We've got 2 more books on the Almost 10. The next on the list, a weird Savage Dragon book. This is Savage Dragon number 120, the Soul Star variant, which is very rare. And I don't know if it was what is it, a 1 in 10? Do you remember what exactly it is? Is it a Graham Crackers only book?
I do not.
Cover B to me.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how this was distributed. It's the same cover. It's got George Bush and John Kerry in the back,
right.
But then it's just got Soul Star bursting through the cover
instead of Savage Dragon.
Right.
Oh yeah.
$550 for this.
I'm telling you, man, and I'll say it again. Eric Larson fans, there's a bunch of them out there that pay a ton of money for rare Eric Larson variants. On the last market report, also, we had a rare Eric Larson book that was a Herb Trimp variant that he did, where he homaged an old school Herb Trimp Hulk variant that I'd never ever seen, that sold for a ridiculous amount. So, there's that crazy Eric Larson Walking Dead variant. There's a lot of weird Eric Larson variants out there that go for a ton of money.
I would have never suspected $550.
And Comic Hall Crew says he's one of them. So that's pretty cool, man.
Brian, are you talking about the Savage Dragon 156 where it's homaging the Incredible Hulk 155 or 156?
Yeah.
The
Yep.
110? Nice,
Yep.
dude. I like that.
Yeah. Very, very cool book. And Brandon Sager also says, I believe it's Graham Crackers. I thought this was a Graham Crackers book. Shout out to Graham Crackers. I would love at some point to talk to the owner of Graham Crackers Comics on Beyond Wednesdays and talk to him about being one of the very first exclusive retailer variant people out there. I mean, he was doing exclusive retailer variants before anybody knew what they were. So very, very cool. All right. Finally, on the Almost 10, a very cool photo variant. This is The Prisoner number 3 from 2018.
I'm guessing this was like a BBC show or something.
Yeah. It was a
Back
very
in
famous BBC show. I mean, it caught on. It was like a niche type thing. Big deal. They've been trying to make. I think they tried to remake it. The show. They tried to do a movie on it too. But yeah, old school.
yeah, so I guess they did photo covers for a lot of these, but this one, for whatever reason, sold for $50. So, again, this is Titan Comics, so it is that Titan does a lot of the British stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Pretty cool, man. Yeah. Wonderworld Comics knows what's up. So, what did this sell for?
50.
Wow.
Whoa. That's. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We've talked about these photo covers for a while, but this is an unusual one for sure.
Right, how like he's like all the way on the right and it's kind of twisted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
I
like
remember finding out about the series. It was either Independent Film Channel or Turner Classic Movies that did like a what do they call that, where they play all the episodes in a row, marathon type thing of the old ones. Yeah, very, very niche classic TV show. Yeah, it's what happens after the Secret Agent Man TV show. There we go. So very cool. All right, you guys, that is the Almost 10. Make sure you guys check out Beyond Wednesdays on YouTube, where we have live shows every Wednesday and every Saturday night. And go check out our clips. Also, sub up. We'll see you there. 170 live, you guys. I want to say thank you to everybody that's hanging out with us tonight. Also, check the description and below and the links in the description, where not only will you find my channel Beyond Wednesdays, you'll also find Richie's channel, Popcorn Culture. Go sub up. He's at like 560 something subs right now. Once he hits 600 subs, we have a great giveaway package for you guys that we've talked about. So make sure you guys go sub up. Let's get him to that 600 sub mark as fast as possible so we can give you guys some great books. And let's get into the honorable mention. This week started by a killer Golden Age book, Haunted Thrills, number 5. What a great skull cover, man.
Yeah, I mean
so dope.
Yeah, I know. We're 3 days before Halloween, so you figured there was going to be some Halloween books and stuff like that, because these do this every year. This one I don't remember ever seeing before. But yeah, this is a crazy looking skull cover.
Mm-hmm.
Very Punch 12-ish.
I wonder if that skull used to play hockey when he was alive.
Looks like he took a puck right to the forehead.
Right, and he's missing those teeth too.
6.5 sold for 7,800 of this week.
I'm not surprised, man. If there's anything that isn't crashing comic book wise, it's Golden Age books, especially PCH.
Yeah, those they're just so rare that when they come up for sale, they just command premium.
Yep, especially in high grade. Very cool. Next on the list, our honorable mention this week Another beautiful cover and a killer book. Deathlock versus the Goon one shot. Of course, Deathlock from Metalocalypse. Great show. And who doesn't love Eric Powell's The Goon and all the cool stuff that comes with it? Great art, killer cover. I'm sure fans of both properties scoop these ups. What's going on here? What is this? How is this new, old?
This is not new. And it was only selling for like $5-6. And now it's 15 to 20. And I was trying to figure out why. Somebody made a comment that the Goon is getting a Netflix show, but that doesn't really have anything to do with this death. Is it Deathlock or Death Clock?
It's Deathlock. No, it's Lock.
It's Deathlock. Okay, and this is Deathlock.
Isn't it Death Clock? Is it Deathlock or Death Clock? I'm sorry.
I thought it was Death Clock.
Yeah, Death Clock. That's my bad.
But I mean, like I went and like somebody said, oh, it's an HBO Max, but I mean, it's the show from like 20 years ago, so I'm not really sure if they're doing it. Maybe they're just showing those, and
is that old? Man, I can't believe that show is that old.
It was like 2004 or something like that.
I think it was a little later, like 2009, summer of 2009 it came out.
One of my all-time favorite shows back in the day when I was a kid was not a kid. I was in my early 20s. Was a Brendan Small show. That's the guy who created Death Clock. But yeah, very cool musician who wrote all the music for Metalocalypse and the two Death Clock albums. But he had a show called Home Movies, animation called Home Movies that for those of you old school Adult Swim people was early on in Adult Swim, one of the first cartoons in Adult Swim. And I freaking love Home Movies. One of my favorite shows.
There's a variant for this. It's a 1 in 5. If you find it, I definitely suggest you think about buying it. But it's dope. It's half Goon's face and half Deathlock's face. And if you read the solicits, it's kind of trippy. It says basically Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, Scooby-Doo meets the Globetrotters, and of course Godzilla meets the little fat kids from Different Strokes. But those are all for the douches.
That's funny, man. That's good stuff. Well, go check it out. Go find yourself a copy. I just love the way that the Goon looks. I love the art of the Goon and Eric Powell. It just looks clean and it's kind of cartoonish that I like too. It's just great art. All right, let's get into the list, you guys. Starting off with number 10 this week, another killer Halloween book. This is Halloween, and who doesn't love an action figure variant for Halloween number 1? This is the 1 in 10 action figure variant with Jack-o'-lantern, and I'm a big fan of jack-o'-lanterns. I think that especially like jack-o'-lantern art is super cool. And if I find one of these, I'm going to pick it up. Another Opus book.
Yeah, Opus having a good week for sure. This one does have a $6.66 cover price.
Of course.
Again, that's expensive for stores to start ordering, bunches of copies of, really obscure indie titles. So 1 in 10 for a book like this is pretty hard to get, I would think. Sell them for 20. I would think that I just have a feeling that these are going to dry up really quick.
Yeah. Cool book, man. Very, very cool book. All right. Next at number 9, a book we talked about last week. Shout out to Latasha Bundy, I believe, that said she picked one of these up at NYCC, or at least got one before we talked about it, which was smart on her part, because this is a super tough to find NYCC variant. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 1 from the Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur panel at New York City Comic Con.
Yeah, so last week this was selling for like a little bit, like 100 and a quarter. It's up well over 200 now. It's like 215. Very few of them have been up for sale. So my thought is that with the price as high as it is, and very few of them are actually being sold, either there just weren't that many of them, or nobody wants to give this up.
Right.
I could see both. Right?
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, I like the idea that it's using the cartoon, animation on this cover.
And Wonderworld asked if Mel got one. I don't know, man. That dinosaur is pretty prominent. So
Mel told me that he was not even aware that there was a Moon Girl panel, and so he didn't go. He didn't get to the panel.
Oh, there we go. Very, very cool cover too. Like it. I love the art style for the cartoon, the animated Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I like that art style. So pretty cool. All right, next on the list, one of my all-time favorite series, one of my all-time favorite books, Witchblade number 10. And for those of you guys that don't know, this is the first appearance of the Darkness. Again, love this series, love this time period, love Top Cow Comics, love Michael Turner. Just everything about this comic book just screams McClay, right? This is something that I was reading at the time. I remember geeking out big time over the B cover, this is the B cover for it. That is just beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. And I couldn't get Darkness issues fast enough when this issue came out. I was already reading Witchblade, of course. And when they brought Jackie Estacado in the series, I was stoked. I was very stoked, and always wished for a Darkness show or series. They had the Witchblade show on USA, I think it was back in the day, which wasn't bad. But I always wanted a Darkness show or a movie, and now we might be getting one, right?
Yeah. So I can't remember who was it.
Mark Silvestri.
Was it Silvestri that said it?
Mm-hmm.
That they basically it's that there's going to be live action Darkness.
Oh, hell yeah!
So I don't honestly know. We've heard that from Image, 1,000 times. I mean, where we've been waiting for what, a decade for a Spawn movie. I mean, so I'll believe it when I see it, but this is still a good book to have regardless if there's ever an actual movie or not, because there's just not that many like true keys in a lot of like Image books, and this actually is kind of an Image key.
Is this a Turner cover, right?
This is the Turner cover.
So compared to his other covers, I think you can really see his talent. I mean, it almost doesn't look McFarlane, but it almost is in that genre. Like looks too good.
Yeah. Say that, what you said again.
I was saying for Turner, this cover is like, you can really tell he's good. The dude is good. I mean, all of his covers are pretty much, I love all of his covers, but this one, he really looks like he's McFarlane-ish in the sense. It's crazy.
Well, this is a great cover, and there's a gold version of this too. Be on the lookout for the gold version of this. The regular version is more of a green, but there's also a special edition. A lot of people don't know about a Dynamic Forces special edition that is super rare, and you can find both this and this one signed, which is be on the lookout for Michael Turner signatures, because of course, rest in peace, the late great Michael Turner. One of the most amazing comic book artists to ever, put pencil to paper. So,
yeah,
passed away at the height of his popularity. Just got done taking over Superman, or the Superman Batman covers, right? With Supergirl. He started doing the Supergirl stuff, and man, he was
Fathom. Yeah. He was hooked up with Aspen. Remember Aspen Comics?
That was his label.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, he was doing a bunch of Miles stuff, 2017, 2018. So yeah. My question is this: I see new Michael Turner covers coming out still. I mean, it hasn't been a while. It's been a while. It's been probably a year, but like he's been gone for a long time, right? So are these just from like they just found these on his, in his trunk,
He,
a bunch
he
of
had
sketches?
he had all his art, all his sketches and stuff were all at the Aspen, and so they've just farmed it.
Huh.
Got a colorist for it, and they basically took all his sketches, and that's where all those covers still come from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
By the way, this is funny. This is the comic book industry. This is the comic book community, you guys. You got to love it. I was giving Marco shit at the beginning of the show, and that call was from Marco going, "Hey, are we good?" Fuck. Jeez. All right. What are these selling for?
They are up to $25 to $30 raw. And they've pretty much been in the $10 to $15 range for a long, long, long time.
They're fucking awesome books, man. And books that a lot of us should have been buying more of in 9.8 condition. By the way, here's another quick piece of cornbread. If you're into this stuff, you need to be picking up Witchblade #1, and you need to be picking up what is that one? She something Battle of the Independence.
Cyblade She.
Cyblade She Battle of the Independence for first appearance of Witchblade. Pick those up because I think that you can't do a Darkness TV show without explaining the Witchblade powers, right? Because it goes hand in hand, pun intended, with the Witchblade, with Darkness. So very, very cool stuff. By the way, you guys, make sure you guys go check out Renovision every week. That being said, on to number 7. Avengers Heroic Age, Avengers book, Avengers #6 from 2010. And all on the news of Black Panther 2, World of Wakanda. Have you guys heard the rumors, or have you guys heard about it?
Yeah, I've heard. So supposedly, it's Zuri, right? Is that how you say his name? It's T'Challa and Storm's son. This is not in continuity. This is a variant, or what are they? Multiverse. Is supposedly they're going to introduce his son in Black Panther 2.
Well, from what I heard, it is his son, but his name is T'Challa, which is smart. And if you guys remember, way back in the day, I can't remember which show it was on, but it might have been the Drunken Chat. But I remember saying specifically they need to, because of what happened with Chadwick Boseman, they need to have T'Challa's son be born and call him T'Challa.
Well, his name is in the comics.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay, we can't wait anymore.
Yeah, I know. My mic or my feed is delayed as well, so I never know if it's me or not. But I don't know. The story wouldn't make much sense if they all of a sudden brought Storm and his child, like they've never had Storm in an MCU movie. It wouldn't make any sense, right?
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, Black Panther, has a child with Storm who's never been in an MCU movie. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Now, if she's never been there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for
So
sure.
my guess is this is it's either just wishful thinking or people hoping to cash in on something.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Who knows? We'll find out in a few weeks, right?
Yeah. It's definitely not Tosin. Where's Steve Horn? Steve, you got to stop this, bro. I know you want Tosin to be something important. And I know you love Tosin so much that you do Tosin Tuesdays. But I think that you're so good at creating variant comics that you just need to get rid of the Tosin stuff and continue making variant comics. By the way, go check out My Bargain Comics. And I think he's got a new website, comicvariant.com. Is that what it is? Variantcomic.com, something like that. But
sounds right.
Go check it out. My Bargain Comics. Anyways, I don't think that this is going to be a big book in the future, but right now it definitely is, and it could be something crazy. So be on point for it. Be on the lookout for it.
I apologize. My internet just went out. I must have kicked it or something. I said something, and then your faces were frozen. I was like, "Damn! Did what I just drop? Like, is it that serious?" Because I'm seeing your faces like, and I'm like, "Okay, this is awkward." All of a sudden, it's just all black. Anyways, his name is Azeri T'Challa, so it works out perfect, like you were saying, Brian.
Good one, bro.
Yeah. See, that's what happens when you live in California.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's trying to charge his car and he can't, or turn the air conditioner on. He can't do that either. So now he can't have internet.
I thought for a second that he was actually like just playing like he froze for a second. You know what I mean? To get us to think that he froze, but man,
I know he looks like he's smoldering right now. Like,
it's this book, man. This book is so crazy, dude. This book is so crazy that it's causing crazy things. The Matrix is glitching, you guys. It is glitching. We'll remove Richie until he comes back. That being said, what is it selling for again?
20 to 30.
Not bad. Not bad. I did get a couple people hitting me up and going, "Hey, be on the lookout for this." But I had already heard the Black Panther news. That's for sure. I'm really looking forward to seeing Black Panther.
Hey,
we thought you were fooling with us, dude.
Oh no. No, I don't even. I mean, did you guys hear anything I said?
No.
I said his name in the comments.
Did you need to get out of California?
Yeah.
Let me just text it to you guys. I'll be right back. No, I said his name in the comics is Azeri T'Challa. So when it's adapted to whatever series in BP2 or whatever, if we see him, it'll work out good because the source material hasn't. But there is something to be aware of. There are 2 versions of this character in this run. He shows up in 2, 3, 5. He's from another reality. The character in this one, in number 6, is the same one in issue 1. So just be aware of that. I don't know.
Well, that's weird. Why is that?
I don't know. I think I was looking at it. I was doing the backlog on it as soon as Ben's list came out, and I was like, man, I can't find this character's first appearance. And it looked like it was like a children's novel or something like that. So I think it's the same character, but one's in a children's book reality and the other one's like in a comic book reality. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Well, it is on the list this week at number 7. So be on the lookout, you guys. Our next book at number 6 is for nerds. For nerds who want to boldly go where no nerd has gone before. Star Trek, and I did say track just to screw with you guys. Star Trek number 1, the David Aja variant, which is beautiful. I'll give it that. Yeah,
forget it. Just take Star Trek away from that, and this looks like pre-code science fiction book. I mean, it's gorgeous. I don't care if it's Star Trek or not. This is a gorgeous cover.
Yeah. I mean, you were just saying, Ben, what was it, last week, that some of these books are just beautiful.
Didn't IDW do like a travel poster variant month where and all the books they put out were like these travel poster type homages? I might be thinking wrong. Chat, let us know if that's the case. I thought that they did other books where they're like these travel posters, which is interesting.
Well, I didn't even know that they were doing a new Star Trek series at all.
This is new?
Yeah, this just came out this week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I thought this was old.
Nope, man. Brand new.
Isn't this this is the next series after Picard, right? Picard was right before that. I thought. I'm talking like a Trekkie. Sorry.
Yeah. But if I see this sitting on the shelf this week, I'll definitely buy this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if it's Star Trek or not. It's just pretty.
I'm gonna buy it and then I'm gonna take a picture of the Millennium Falcon and paste it over that cheesy
Dude, you got the eBay seller's name. You just showed it. Hit him up.
Oh my God. Liger Style says he almost picked this up and passed on it. Yeah, man, we've all been there. We've all been there. Shout out to David Aja. All right. At number 5 this week, a book that's been on this list before. We've talked about it pretty heavily, and especially when the rumors started coming out that Abigail Brand was going to be played or could be played by the Queen of Dragons. And that seems to be the case now with a recent leak that is the character she is playing. And here it is, Astonishing X-Men number 6 at our number 5 spot.
Yeah, this is, I don't know. I mean, does anybody really care? I mean, I think they care about Amelia Clark, but does anybody care about this character?
I don't care about Sword. I mean, I liked Agents of Shield of the TV show. I thought it was really cool, but I just don't really care about the Sword. And supposedly she runs Sword, right? So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like a space. It's like Agents of Shield, but they're all in space. But I don't know. I don't really care.
I think Sword is cool, but more importantly, this is such a beautiful cover. This book should be wanted just for that alone.
It's very very seductive.
I like how she's like phasing into him.
Well, I mean, this probably came out first, but it reminds me of those Hughes
Watchmen books.
The Watchmen books, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see them making sort of some type of series or something, but I could also see them making Abigail Brand be a Skrull.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that she was first going to be Queen Veronica, and then it was going to be that one that first appeared in Meet the Skrulls. So now she's Abigail.
Yeah, she's going to be playing Abigail Brand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I see somebody. I just saw in the chat. Somebody was saying, "Did we mention the price on the Star Trek book?" It's selling for $15 to $20.
Thank you, Ben.
All right. What I will suggest is the same thing I suggested the last time this book came up. Go check out Astonishing X-Men, the series, if you haven't. It's one of the best X-Men series / storylines ever written. This is when Joss Whedon was just at the height of his popularity, and he did such a great job in this. And John Cassaday did the covers and the interior art. It was the book that everybody read first when it came out that week, when they picked up their box. This was the top of their pile, man. It was such a great series. So make sure you go check it out. All right, you guys, we got 4 more. Let's get into it. At number 4, Young Avengers back on the list. And I'm pretty excited about this. This series is such a great series, and this is such a great cover. Young Avengers number 6 at number 4.
Yeah, so the Quantumania trailers are out. Clearly, Cassie is going to be a major part, and probably going forward as well. I think it just really confuses. It's really confusing. Is she going to be Stature? Is she going to be Stinger? Is she going to be neither one of them? Who knows? This one is where she's Stature, the Astonishing Ant-Man number, whatever it is, 4 or 5, whatever number that is. That's her
6.
Stinger.
Yeah.
6.
I think that A2 one is
A next. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
A next. Sorry, yeah. I always think of J2, but yeah, I think A next should be one that people are looking for that book, for that character.
I agree on that one.
Yeah, so it's a real confusing. I would probably just default to her actual first appearance, which is all the way back, when Scott Lang became Ant-Man. So that would probably be the one that I would go for. But, modern collectors like the modern books. So
and we like to argue.
yeah, and we like to argue. So who knows? But this one's back up to like $30 to $40 raw again. Like I said, I think that I think her character is going to be heavily used going forward.
There's something really interesting about this book too. I wanted to bring up. If you guys have not checked out Ben's list on comicbookinvest.com, highly suggest you do. He actually, if you've been there, you know, but if you haven't, he writes some really, really valuable stuff each one of the books, and he wrote something very valuable on this one, and he just mentioned it. He said, you know, when it's something like this convoluted, just go for the first appearance. But I want to tell you something about this book. If you haven't read Young Avengers #1, it's a weak appearance for a character at the magnitude of Kate Bishop. Okay, she's just a normal person at a wedding. This one right here, you got her, you know, this is the first time we see her in her actual Hawkeye costume. I think this adds to this book as well. So I think that's another thing to think about.
Cool stuff. All right, at number 3, a Momoko book.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Strange Academy Finals.
Strange Academy Finals #1. Yeah, the 1 in 50 Peach Momoko variant.
Yeah, I wonder if people are just picking this up because remember when Strange Academy 1 came out and the Peach was the book to have, and I wonder if they're just following up because they want this one as the one. I don't know. I don't want to say it's terrible because I know she's
terrible.
She works really hard, and so
I think Peach is great, and I think she's a great artist. I just think that she's maybe she's just working too much. Because when she does her traditional, and I hate to say this because I don't want people to go, oh, what, you think she can only do traditional Japanese stuff? No, that's not what I'm saying. I just love her traditional Japanese art that she does. I love, you know, the Usagi Yojimbo book that was so great. The turtle stuff she did. I just feel like a lot of the stuff she's churning out way too fast, and maybe it's not as good as it could be, but I could be totally wrong. You know, Strange Academy's Finals is a great series, and there's great covers to it, by the way. If people haven't seen the other covers, there's that card variant. Have you seen the Doyle Dormammu card variant for that one? It is,
oh hell yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. For the people that haven't seen it, I mean, let me show you guys this. This is freaking beautiful. I love Doyle Dormammu. I mean, who doesn't love that? And then there's another great one.
Mm-hmm.
Just the regular Ramos A cover is beautiful.
Oh wow, I never saw
Ramos. Humberto Ramos is killing the art in the series, and Ramos is hit or miss. No matter what, he's either really bad, especially when he's drawing Spider-Man, or he's really good especially when he's drawing Strange Academy. That's my opinion, of course, but I just, again, you know, I don't want to be a hater. I love there's work that I love of theirs. This just isn't it. This just isn't it. But I'll tell you what is cool. Whatever that is on the left side of her, whether it's like a spine with eyeballs on it or something, whatever that is, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just don't like her poses and the way that she does. Like, maybe it's her poses sometimes kind of feel off, or she doesn't have a good idea on human anatomy. You know, something, her necks are usually very, very long.
Shape of her faces too. Yeah. Sometimes they're like two like V, sometimes they're like, gotcha.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I think Strange Academy is just going to end up being one of the greatest you know, series and teams, and all those characters are going to be so huge. And I still don't own that Breakfast Club variant. You know, that's a must pick up for me by the end of this next year.
This is I think this is like a 3 or 4 issue series, and what's really cool, if you guys are not reading it and you read anything that had to do with the last series, their volume 1, you guys know that the big bad is Gaslamp, and he first appears in 13 cameo, 14 full, however you guys want to describe that. That's up to you guys. I don't care. But anyways, Strange Academy and the teachers are going to be meeting this guy in issue 2 and issue 3. The kids are going to battle him. So, and he's on the cover fighting him too, on cover A. So be on the lookout.
Yeah, Max Sin City Collectible says, "Relax, McClay. Geez, bro, you must not know me. I'm super relaxed. Shout out to Cannabis." All right. What is this selling for?
90 to 100.
Wow.
It's 1 in 50 too. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ben?
I think I'd spend my $100 in other places, but that's me. I buy weird crap anyway, so what do I know?
Yeah, this is a great comment right here. Eric Hurd, shout out to Eric Hurd, says, with Peach, I feel like how can you miss if you never go away, i.e. Saturation. But a lot of people like Dre say that they love Momoko. So again, art is very subjective. That's the great thing about it. All right, at number 2, another cool book and a beautiful Adi Granov cover right here. Here's the Granov, right? Excuse me.
Adi Granov, yeah.
This is Nova number 8 from 2008. And of course, the first appearance of Cosmo. Great character that everybody loves and is going to love even more now that we're going to see him on the big screen.
Yeah, so he popped up in the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, and then I think James Gunn said that Cosmo is definitely in Guardians 3, and will play a significant role. So I don't know. I mean, I remember when I got back into comics, people were talking about this book, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you got to get Nova number 8 because it's the first appearance of Cosmo." And I'm like, "That's a dog. Why am I getting a first appearance of a dog?" But I mean, here it is. It's right back. I mean, 10 years later, here it is.
Yeah. Well, great cover, that's for sure. That whole series was decent. And this time period, another great time period in comics too. Love it.
Oh, Patrick said that I forgot to put, and it does. I'm looking at my wording, and I did not put what this is actually selling for. Is this number 8?
Yep.
Yeah. Cosmo. See, sometimes I get. I think it was upwards. I think it was upwards of 40 raw. Let me look. Again, some of these you have to look at condition. Yeah, the last one, a fine copy, sold for 35. There was one that sold for 50 near mint. So it's kind of all over the board, 45, 30, 50. Probably a lot of it has to do with condition on some of these, but I would say probably in that $40 range is probably where you should be able to find it.
If you guys want a first cover appearance, I think Cosmo makes his first cover on a Marvel handbook. It's called Marvel Pets.
Nice.
Did you notice that, or did you hear though that the Cosmo they're using in the show and is actually female?
No. Well, I mean, is it supposed to be a male dog? But it's
no. They're actually making Cosmo the dog
female.
on the show female. As a Gunn said, he's doing it as a tribute to the first dog in space was a female dog.
Yep.
And so that's what he changed. Basically, still using Cosmo, just it's not going to be a boy dog. It's going to be a girl dog.
I'm cool with that.
It's not like he's changing, the actual story. I mean, it's a dog. It's a dog. I mean, come on.
I wonder if they'll call the dog Cosma.
No, I think it's because on the preview it showed Cosmo. It said, I mean, like it flashed on the screen, Cosmo the dog. So, yeah. So, anyways, that was just a little extra tidbit there.
Well, the sad part about that poor dog that was the first dog in space was she didn't come back.
Really? What happened?
She did.
What do you mean? What happened?
Well, you know so much about this stuff. I want to hear it.
They never planned for her or that monkey to come back. I don't think the dog came back. I mean, chat, let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't think she came back. You know what I mean?
Man, Brian just made this really sad.
Yeah, right. I always wanted a shirt of that.
Since we're on the subject of Cosmos, and you mentioned Joe or Cosmo, and you mentioned Joe Rogan, have you been watching the Joe Rogan talking to the pilots that have been seeing those UAVs?
Talking about it on the podcast every week in our UFO report, brother. By the way, big UFO report news. that we talked about in the latest podcast, make sure you guys do some research on the Varginha, Brazil UFO incident. It'll blow you guys away. And there's supposedly pictures. So, by the way, hashtag the podcast. Make sure you guys go check it out. So, all right. The very first dog in space, Laika, was a Soviet space dog who became one of the first animals in space. She was a stray mongrel from the streets of Moscow that was selected to become the occupant of Soviet spacecraft Sputnik 2 that was launched into orbit in 1967. 1957. She died that same year in low Earth orbit. So there you guys go. She died within hours from overheating caused by a failure of the ship to separate from the payload. It's a bummer. That is a bummer. So, but it was widely reported that she died when her oxygen ran out on day 6, as the government initially claimed. But she was euthanized prior to oxygen depletion.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So very interesting. Space history is fascinating. And yeah. All right, on to number 1, you guys. Speaking of space history and engineers and all that fun stuff, we got a Green Lantern book, one of the greatest Green Lantern books of all time. And I'm a little bit bummed out on this one. At number 1, we have Green Lantern number 87 from the great Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams. And the reason why I'm bummed out on this...
So...
Did you hear about this? That the budget for this show has been basically slashed to nothing, to the point where we're no longer getting a Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart show, just a Jon Stewart show, which I'm still cool with, but I wanted that budget to be awesome.
Do you wonder if now that DC has hired James Gunn full-time, if he's going to change some stuff around?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, a lot of these projects that got shelved, like, is he going to bring some of these back?
That's what I'm thinking too.
I hope so. Well, this one didn't get shelved. It was the only one that didn't get shelved. Yeah.
Right. But I'm not outside of Green Lantern, but like anything else that was kind of floating around there, I just wonder if he's going to bring it back.
Well, he would be smart. DC or Warner Brothers would be smart to bring back that Batgirl stuff just to make some money off of it. You already paid for it to have it made. It was basically finished. I mean, the directors had and writers had uploaded it to the final server to the point where they were done with it. Like, what's going on here? It was just it just seems stupid.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to like looking at prices of this book, we still got to chop out the 2 years of COVID, and once you chop those years out, this thing is definitely it's trending up. It's trending down from COVID. Every book is trending down from COVID. So just chop those 2 years out, and you'll see that the curve is actually going up. A bunch of sales this week once that kind of came out that it was basically going to be a Jon Stewart show. But I hope it's good. That's all I really hope. I hope it's good.
Are they not going to have the woman Green Lantern, Sonya or whatever? They're scratching her out too.
As far as I know,
because I thought it was going to be all 3 of them. It was going to be Guy and then Stewart, and then it was going to be that new one that was introduced in 2019.
Yeah, no. I heard they've kind of killed all of that, but again, those are just rumors. I know Boss Logic just put out a cool little IG post where he has Jon Stewart and that girl. He has a little mock-up of actors playing them, but I don't know, man. What I will say is this is the type of book that, whether you're a Green Lantern fan or not, if you're a comic fan and you love collecting comics, this is a book you should own just for the historical fact of this book and how important this book was. If you guys don't know the history of Jon Stewart and Neil Adams and Danny O'Neill, like do some research. I was very lucky to sit down and interview Neil Adams a couple years back, and I got to have a conversation with him about, just this time period, because this is some of my favorite stuff of all time. I love him and Danny O'Neill's running this, and the way that he talked about why he created Jon Stewart, why they created Jon Stewart, and their thought process in creating him is fascinating. And the historical aspect on alone makes this a book to have in your collection. So pretty damn cool.
Now you make me feel bad because I've never owned it.
Yeah, man. Tough book. There's a very cool, you remember when Neil Adams did those covers for DC a couple years back during the New 52 run, where he redid all the covers and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
There's a cool, I don't know if it was during that period, but I think it was, where he did a cover where Flash is running behind them, and it's like a second after this, and Jon Stewart's looking behind him, and it's actually a pretty cool cover. You should people be on the lookout for that one too.
Cool.
Yeah. Guy McLeod says this is a great book to have. Outstanding story. I'm glad to cop a Neil Adams signed edition. That's awesome. Rob says a lot of times the best work on shows are done on low or reduced budgets that they have to get creative with. So amen. I agree with that. Reef the Sea Forever says great book. Couldn't agree more. 172 live till the end of the show, you guys. I want to thank you so much. And to everybody out there in Baltimore, super, super jealous of you guys. Have a good time. Enjoy the community aspect. Go have a drink with the homies, and be on the lookout for all the content creators out there, including Big Leg, who's out there roaming around. You can find him at almost any bar at almost any time of the day. I'm sure he'll be there. Take a look. That being said, what do you guys got going on this week? You guys got anything exciting? Any sales? Anything fun?
I just putting out box break videos until I can get my voice all the way back to do an entire 2-hour live stream. I was gonna do one today, but I was just like, no, there's no way I can do both tonight. So I put this one as priority this show. But other than that, though, happy Halloween to everybody. Be safe, and see you on the flip side.
Yeah. Stein, you?
I might just be finding some books to give away next week.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
I am putting together a massive comic book sale, including slabs and major keys and variants and a bunch of crazy stuff. So make sure you guys go give me a follow on Whatnot. It'll be either tomorrow or Sunday. Tons of crazy stuff that is going to be available. I need to put together some money for another big buy. So your gain.
What's the big buy? What's the big buy?
It could be a multiple card 1986-87 Fleer basketball set. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You go.
Yeah. So that being said, you guys, give us a follow. Make sure you guys check out the links in the description below, where you guys can find all of our YouTube pages and more great content in each one of those. Make sure you guys give this a thumbs up. Let us know what you think about all the books on the list, and join us every Friday here on the House of Stein for the Hot 10. We will see you guys next week. Adios.
See you.